Would you dare live in a house as tall as a 15-story building, in a forest filled with crocodiles, venomous snakes, and swamps that are nearly impossible to cross? It sounds like something out of a survival movie. But for a tribe in Papua, that is simply everyday life. For centuries, these people remained almost completely isolated from the outside world. They lived high in the treetops, dozens of meters above the ground, used dog teeth as currency, and consumed evil spirits. Let's venture deep into the rainforests of Papua and discover how the Korowai tribe, one of the most mysterious tribes still existing on Earth, lives. The Korowai live in the western part of New Guinea, in what is now Indonesia. This is a place where nature seems determined to keep humans out. Dense tropical rainforests cover almost the entire region, while vast swamps and a maze of rivers stretch beneath the canopy. Even today, reaching some Korowai villages can take days of travel by boat or small aircraft. It was this isolation that allowed the tribe to preserve its unique way of life throughout most of its history. For much of their history, the Korowai had virtually no contact with the outside world. As recently as the 1970s, many members of the tribe believed that they were the only people living on Earth. Life here has never been easy. The rivers are home to crocodiles, the forests are filled with venomous snakes, and tropical diseases have always been a constant threat. Yet instead of leaving this land behind, the Korowai adapted in a way that amazed the world. They built tree houses at heights ranging from 10 to 30 meters above the ground. Some of these homes even rise to nearly 50 meters, roughly the height of a 15-story building. And all of them are constructed entirely from materials gathered from the forest, without the use of iron nails, concrete, or any kind of modern machinery. So how do they build their homes? This is a question that 85% of viewers ask. First, they select a massive ancient tree with a straight trunk, strong roots, and the ability to support the weight of an entire house. Next, the men of the tribe climb the tree using vines and temporary footholds carved directly into the trunk. Wood, palm leaves, and rattan are hauled up by hand. Instead of using nails, they tie each wooden beam together with strong forest vines. The Korowai especially favor hardwoods that can withstand year-round rain and harsh weather. The roof is covered with thick palm leaves to protect against tropical rains, while the floor is woven from large wooden beams to distribute the weight evenly. Every step of the process relies on knowledge passed down through generations and is carried out by the most experienced members of the tribe. Would you dare live in a treehouse like that? Leave a comment with the number 1 if you would, and 0 if you would not. How can they live up there every day? In reality, the inside of a Korowai treehouse has no electricity, no running water, and none of the modern conveniences that most of us take for granted. Their lives revolve around hunting, fishing, and harvesting sago, a plant that serves as the tribe's most important food source. But one of the most surprising things is that they build fires inside their homes every day. At first, this sounds incredibly dangerous when the entire house is made of wood and palm leaves. However, the Korowai developed a remarkably clever solution generations ago. They place their hearth on a thick layer of clay, preventing heat from spreading to the wooden floor below. As a result, they can cook food, stay warm, and carry out their daily activities normally, even at heights of dozens of meters above the ground. Perhaps the most fascinating part is that from these homes, the Korowai can see across the surrounding forest. Deep in the rainforest, this allows them to spot dangerous animals, strangers, or potential threats from far away. If you were to ask a Korowai person who is considered wealthy, the answer would most likely have nothing to do with gold, silver, or cash. Instead, they would look at how many dog teeth that person owns. That's right, in traditional Korowai culture, dog teeth are considered a valuable form of wealth. They are often used in important exchanges, especially those related to marriage. When a man wants to marry a woman, he cannot simply approach her family and ask for her hand in marriage. He must prove that he is capable of providing for a future family. Part of that proof comes from the assets he has accumulated, including pigs, shells, and most importantly, dog teeth. For the Korowai, a dog tooth is not just a piece of jewelry, it represents time, effort, and hunting skill. The more dog teeth a person possesses, the higher their status and reputation within the community. Do you believe that a spiritual world exists alongside the human world? According to traditional Korowai beliefs, Kakua is an evil spirit capable of hiding in human form. What makes it frightening is that it does not appear as a monster or a strange creature. Instead, Kakua may wear the face of a neighbor, a friend, or even a member of one's own family. Today, with modern medicine explaining the causes of many illnesses, we understand that a healthy person can die from infections, viruses, or a wide range of other health conditions. But in the past, when a member of the tribe suddenly became ill and died without an obvious cause, the Korowai often believed it was not a natural death. According to their beliefs, a Kakua was responsible. This belief greatly influenced the way the Korowai viewed the world around them. To them, the forest was not inhabited only by trees, animals, and people. It was also a place where unseen forces existed and influenced everyday life. Although many Korowai people have now come into contact with the modern world, stories about Kakua continue to be passed down through generations. They are not merely ancient legends, but also reflections of how their ancestors tried to explain mysteries that science at the time could not yet understand. And it is this belief in Kakua that gave rise to one of the most debated stories associated with the Korowai. For many years, the tribe was often mentioned in connection with accounts of cannibalism. As a result, many outsiders viewed them as a mysterious and difficult to understand community. However, when examined more closely, the reality is far more complex. According to traditional Korowai beliefs, when a healthy person suddenly dies without a clear cause, they believe that an evil force known as Kakua is responsible. In their view, this is not a natural event, but the result of a harmful act committed against the community. It was this belief that led to customs and behaviors very different from those found in modern society today. Researchers believe that these practices were closely tied to the Korowai worldview and belief system of the past, when they had no knowledge of disease or modern medicine to explain sudden deaths. Today, after decades of contact with the outside world, most of those controversial practices are no longer maintained. However, stories of Kakua remain an important part of Korowai history and culture, helping us better understand how people once explained the mysteries of life before the arrival of modern science. Over many generations, they have maintained a way of life that remains closely connected to nature, without dramatically altering the landscape around them. Rather than over-exploiting the resources available to them, they take only what is necessary for their daily needs. Their food comes primarily from hunting, fishing, and harvesting sago, a plant that plays an especially important role in the tribe's way of life. From the trunk of this tree, they can produce starch for food while also making use of many other nutritional resources provided by nature. When they notice that food supplies in a particular area are beginning to decline, families often move to a new location, allowing the ecosystem time to recover. Because of this way of life, the land they once used has the opportunity to regenerate and continue, supporting future generations. The story of the Korowai shows that the world still holds far more wonders than we often imagine. While most of humanity lives surrounded by technology, the internet, and modern cities, there are still communities that maintain ways of life shaped by generations past, deep within forests that remain largely isolated from the rest of the world. From their tree houses rising dozens of meters above the ground, to their ability to use natural resources for survival, to their unique beliefs and customs, the Korowai have created a remarkable culture that reflects humanity's extraordinary capacity to adapt. Whether or not one agrees with some of their past traditions, it is impossible to deny that this community found a way to survive in one of the most challenging environments on the planet. Perhaps the most thought-provoking question is not how they differ from us, but how they have managed to preserve their identity in a world that changes every day. What about you? If you had the opportunity to spend a week living with the Korowai in the forests of Papua, would you dare to try? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you enjoy stories about unique cultures around the world, do not forget to subscribe to the channel and join us on future journeys of discovery. While you are still complaining every day about the state of the stock market, somewhere in the world there are communities of people who have to live in environments that you would not believe are real, even in your dreams. Before starting today's video, please leave a greeting and tell us which country you are from in the comments. If an American built a 45-meter tall house on top of a tree in the middle of the forest, his neighbors would probably call a psychiatrist. But for the Korowai tribe in Papua, Indonesia, that is completely normal. The Korowai are an indigenous tribe living in the southeastern tropical rainforest region of Papua, Indonesia. This area is one of the most isolated places on the planet, where many communities maintained a traditional hunter-gatherer lifestyle until the late 20th century. In fact, the Korowai only began having regular contact with the outside world in the 1970s, making them one of the latest studied communities in Southeast Asia. The houses here are not built using any modern technology. There is no steel, no concrete, and no machinery to help. Everything is made from wood, vines, and entirely through human labor. The reason they build their houses so high is not because they want a better view. In the past, conflicts frequently occurred between tribal groups living in the forest. A high position allowed them to spot danger from a distance and provided a significant defensive advantage. In addition, the height helped them avoid most mosquitoes and disease-carrying insects, especially malaria, a disease that once claimed the lives of countless people in tropical rainforests. However, if you only look at the tree houses, you will miss the most fascinating thing about the Korowai. Their entire way of life actually revolves around a single tree called the sago palm. This tree provides almost everything the community needs to survive. The pith of the trunk is processed into starch, the main food source in their daily diet. The leaves are used for roofing, the bark becomes building material, and the decaying trunk creates an environment where beetle larvae can grow, one of the most important sources of protein for the Korowai. Today, many Korowai people have moved into ground-level settlements through development programs organized by the Indonesian government. However, the tree houses have become a tourist attraction for those who enjoy adventure. If you had the chance to visit this place, would you have the courage to climb into one of the Korowai tree houses? Comment 1 if you would and 0 if you would not. The Korowai found a way to adapt to the rainforest by moving their lives up into tree canopies dozens of meters above the ground. But if you think that is already one of the harshest living environments in the world, then keep watching to see how tribes in the Amazon rainforest survive. The Amazon is often called the lungs of the earth. The rainforest stretches across more than 5.5 million square kilometers and spans 9 South American countries, containing about 10% of all known species on Earth. This enormous biodiversity creates a rich ecosystem, but it also makes the Amazon a place filled with dangers. Temperatures regularly range from 25 to 35 degrees Celsius, while humidity levels are almost always above 80%. The hot, humid, and suffocating air causes the human body to lose water much faster than most people realize. Even a small cut can become seriously infected in such a climate. In addition, there are thousands of species of insects, venomous snakes, poisonous spiders, parasites, and tropical diseases that have existed in this region for thousands of years. Yet many indigenous tribes have lived here for thousands of years. One of the most well-known communities is the Yanomami people, who live along the border region between Brazil and Venezuela. Their population is more than 30,000 people, and many groups still maintain a lifestyle similar to that of their ancestors from centuries ago. Instead of building permanent villages like many other civilizations, they developed circular communal structures known as shabonos. A single shabono can be home to dozens of families at the same time and is designed to adapt to the hot and humid conditions of the rainforest. The survival skills of the Yanomami are built on knowledge accumulated over many generations. They can identify hundreds of different plant species, knowing which ones can be used for food, which ones serve as medicine, and which ones should be avoided. Many medicinal plants were used by them long before scientists began studying their medical properties. Food here comes entirely from nature and hunting. Instead of relying on heavy weapons, many Amazon tribes use long blowguns combined with poison-tipped darts made from plant or animal toxins found in the rainforest. These small darts make almost no sound, but are powerful enough to bring down monkeys, birds, and other animals high in the treetops. Amazonian soil is actually much less fertile than many people think. Most nutrients exist within the vegetation itself rather than in the soil. As a result, many communities move their living locations regularly instead of staying in one place permanently. Within this rainforest, there are still tribes that have had little or almost no contact with the outside world. Researchers estimate that the Amazon is still home to dozens of isolated groups. Some communities have only been discovered through aerial photographs. Imagine being offered a job that pays $100,000 a month. Would you take it? After watching the rest of this video, leave a comment and let us know. At an altitude of more than 5,100 meters above sea level, La Rinconada is recognized as the highest permanent settlement in the world. Just breathing here is already a challenge. The air is so thin that oxygen levels are only about half of what they are at sea level. Many newcomers experience headaches, dizziness, nausea, or shortness of breath after only a few hours. Yet, despite these harsh conditions, more than 50,000 people continue to flock to La Rinconada for one reason: gold. Hidden beneath the snow-covered mountains is one of the largest gold mines in South America. For many poor people from Peru, Bolivia, and nearby regions, this place represents the only chance they have to change their lives. But the price they pay is sometimes greater than the reward. One of the most shocking things about La Rinconada is a labor system known as Cacurio. Under this system, miners work continuously for 30 days without receiving any wages. They break rock, haul ore, and breathe toxic dust inside freezing tunnels deep within the mountain. Only on the last day of the month are they allowed to take out as much ore as they can carry on their backs. If they are lucky, that ore may contain enough gold to support their families for months. If not, after a month of exhausting work, they leave with almost nothing. Life here is so harsh that many people see each month of work as a gamble with fate. They risk their health and their time for the chance of finding just a few grams of gold inside the mountain. What is especially fascinating is that an ancient belief still exists in this city of gold. Inside the dark tunnels, where sunlight never reaches, many miners place statues of El Tío, the spirit believed in local tradition to rule the underworld. They offer cigarettes, strong liquor, and coca leaves in the hope that El Tío will protect them from accidents and lead them to new gold veins. In La Rinconada, gold is not just a precious metal. It is the reason tens of thousands of people choose to live in one of the harshest places on Earth, where every breath is difficult and every workday carries risks that most of us can hardly imagine. Would you dare take this job? Leave your opinion in the comments below. The final place is called Coober Pedy, a town located in the remote outback of South Australia. Just one look at a map is enough for many people to understand why it is considered one of the harshest living environments in Australia. For hundreds of kilometers in every direction, there is little more than rock and desert. During the summer, outdoor temperatures regularly exceed 40 degrees Celsius, and during extreme heat waves, they can approach 50 degrees Celsius. Under conditions like these, even the simplest activities become difficult. Walking under the midday sun can quickly lead to dehydration. Many newcomers are surprised to discover that most daily life here takes place in the early morning or late evening, when temperatures are more comfortable. But what made Kuba Pedi famous around the world is not its extreme weather. It is how the residents chose to deal with it.
Do you believe that in the Amazon there are still tribes where people have almost never known clothing for hundreds of years? Today, come with me to the largest rainforest on the planet and discover the primitive tribes that still maintain a way of life from the earliest times in the 21st century, and the secret things no YouTube channel has ever covered about the women in those tribes. If you are sitting in front of the screen, leave a comment with the number 1 to let me know. Hidden deep within the vast Amazon rainforest between Venezuela and Brazil lives the Yanomami tribe, one of the most primitive and isolated indigenous communities in the world. This tribe has around 20,000 people living scattered across more than 200 small villages deep in the forest, and is considered one of the largest tribal groups still existing in the Amazon. Although they were discovered by the outside world in 1929, the Yanomami people still maintain a way of life very similar to that of their ancestors hundreds of years ago. No electricity, no roads, no modern technology. Their lives are closely connected to the wild nature of the Amazon rainforest. The Yanomami people live in large communal houses called shabono, built from wood, palm leaves and vines. Each house is home to many families at the same time. Because of the hot and humid climate of the Amazon all year round, men and women in the tribe usually wear very little clothing. They mainly use natural materials such as tree bark, plant fibers, and forest leaves to cover their bodies or for decoration. For the Yanomami people, the human body is a natural part of life. If modern women today even find sewing clothes difficult, then look at these products made by the hands of the women here themselves. Yanomami women are famous for weaving baskets, bags, tying cords, and many daily items from tree roots, bark, and fibers taken from the forest. The baskets are completely hand-woven, used to carry food, fruit, and hunting supplies during long journeys through the forest. Almost every item in their lives is made from what nature provides. The Yanomami people do not depend on livestock or agriculture like the modern world. They mainly hunt, fish, and gather food to survive. The men use bows and arrows to hunt monkeys, birds, and wild pigs, while the women are responsible for gathering fruit, digging forest roots, and caring for children. Women in the tribe often paint their bodies with red dye made from ruku seeds to protect against insects and for traditional rituals. They also wear necklaces and decorations made from forest seeds, bird feathers, or animal bones. In Yanomami culture, when a girl enters puberty, it also means she is considered old enough for marriage. Marriages are often arranged between families in the village to maintain relationships between the small communities deep in the forest. This is only the beginning for the first primitive tribe. Do not turn off your screen yet, because the next 9 tribes have never even known what clothing is. The deeper you go into the tropical rainforest around the Amazon River basin, the more human life becomes separated from the modern world. The Waorani tribe, with a population of around 4,000 people, is located in eastern Ecuador. The Waorani people live scattered across many small villages between rivers and vast primary forests. For many generations, they have had almost no contact with the outside world and still maintain a lifestyle closely connected to nature like their ancestors from hundreds of years ago. The Waorani are considered descendants of ancient nomadic hunter-gatherer groups in the Amazon,